welcome back to our renovation project in central Portugal. This week we've been recycling waste from around our property and further afield in different ways. We've reused salvaged roof tiles, used chipped wood cut from our olive trees, and finally got a bit closer to a finished drive to the barn.
So whilst we're playing about with roofs, I've also got to do the one that's above the bathroom, so that when we come back in the summer and use the shower, it's actually got a proper waterproof roof on it. But to do that, I've got a load of the tiles that we've reclaimed. So the boards and the waterproof membrane's already up there. I need to put the battens in place. So I need to work out what the pitch of these tiles are. These are reclaimed tiles, but there's two different patterns to them. And having become aware of the implications that might have, and from another YouTube channel that we've been following, thank you Scotters, your experience, painful though it was invaluable to us, and I'll put a link in the description to your channel so people can take a look on. But these ones, they overlap and interlock, and so they can go from there, and they've got about 25 to 30 mil of float in between them. So that I've got there is the maximum pitch in between. So that is 355, and the minimum pitch I'd be comfortable with then is there, and that is 345. So sort of suggests around about 350 is going to be the place to be. Go for the middle. There. Just double check that again. 350. 350. So that's good for that with the wiggly pattern. I've got one with the straight pattern. We've got one leg, but that'll work itself out. Sits on there, and that sits over nicely as well, so it doesn't foul on that ridge. So yeah, 350 seems to be the magic middle number, and I'll go with that. Then we'll just see how it goes mixing the patterns.
The sharp-eyed among you will have spotted that the kitchen roof we put on over the last few videos has mysteriously disappeared here. No, it hasn't fallen off. We've been doing a few projects in parallel, and it made sense to show you all the roofy stuff grouped together. When I say that, I don't mean all the roofing though. Phil's back up a ladder here, but working on a different roof this time. Well, I've been busy with the digging. Phil's been fertling about up here on the bathroom roof. Oh. What have you been up to, mate?
Oh, it's learning to put the jigsaw pieces together. So it's very true from what we've seen on other channels. Not all tiles are the same, and whilst I've got a bridge between that row there and the top of this board, but I've got to find then what the spread is to go down.
Could you say you're getting there?
I think I'm beginning to understand it better than I did an hour or so ago.
That's good. Progress.
I think so. I think it needs. So if I can get this, so this one I've got here.
Well, that you're sort of changing the slope, aren't you?
There's a little bit of that, but this one here is the bottom of the bridge. So I've got not the most comfortable thing in the world. There's a batten up there from the old roof. This is going to be the first batten of the new roof.
Okay.
So I've got a bridge from this row, which are hooked on the last batten of the old roof, and then this row, which is the first batten, the highest batten of the new roof. So I've got to get that spacing right. Once I've got that, then 35s down should give me an even pitch.
Steady from there, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Big question I don't yet know, we'll do this live, just to really keep the tension up, is, so 35, multiples of 35, we're back in the maths again.
Yeah, up to 17,
so
95,
that's
yeah, there you go.
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 210 is 5, 6. What does 210 give me? If I was to hang a tile off of 210...
Oops, I can't get any further back, I'm on a ladder.
No, so 210 gets me to there.
Which doesn't take you over the edge.
Doesn't take me over the edge.
So let's do that. You can see.
So then 245, if I put another one on there, I've got quite a big overhang.
You do indeed, yeah. Is that safe like that? Well, I suppose you've got to prop it up a bit.
We've got to prop it up a bit with an extra batten. So
it would certainly keep the rain away from the windows and the walls.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, okay, it's doable.
Well, we're reusing what we've got,
yeah,
and
see how we go.
It is as big as it is. We'll see how we go.
But that one looks like new, whereas some of the others are...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, you look at that one is in great nick.
And that one's
those are
disgusting. They don't look as if but they are the same type. They've got the same twiddly pattern down the side.
Well, they've got the same twiddly pattern down the side, but others don't. Some have straight lines down them. Those ones up there have diamonds on them. They're all roughly the same size.
Yeah.
And if we can vaguely accommodate them all being roughly the same size,
then happy bunnies.
We'll be good.
Okay.
And if I can compress that 35 maybe to 34
then
over
you
6.
Won't have quite so much overhang at the end. Yeah.
If I can compress that 35 to 34 over the 6, 7, 8 courses, I'll bring those tiles back closer.
Excellent.
So I think that's the game plan.
Well, carry on.
Let's just have a quick double check on
it up here.
The pitch of these. So that, yeah, so that's 35, that one that I've got there. We shall see.
Okay,
yep.
I'm going to do a quick panorama down to where I've been digging, because you actually can get an idea of what's happening a bit better from up here, maybe.
And does that panorama include a kettle?
Can't see the kettle from here, it's hiding, but that bit there is where I'm digging, and
looking good from up here.
You can start to see the shape of where I'm aiming at. I'm not there yet, but hey ho. Got some interesting bulbs sprouting. Don't know what they are. Quite interesting to see when they come out.
In the previous episode, you might have seen me getting a little less than happy with the circular saw I was using, so let's take it over to the workbench and see if we can dig a little deeper into it. Just been noticing some problems with this circular saw, which suddenly started not running true to the guide, and I'm not aware of having dropped it or anything in particular. And on these DeWalt's there isn't any adjustment for the housing onto the base plate. So yeah, the motor onto the base plate. All we've got is a series of torque screws, but I'm going to see if, just by slackening them off, whether there's any wriggle room at all because then at the moment, if I try to run this in a saw guide, it's going to make a complete mess. I'll show you where we're at. So that's tight at the front of the blade. Come to the back of the blade, and we're at least a mil off, possibly even more. So what I'm trying to try and do is see whether I've got any latitude closer. I wonder, with a little judicious knock on that bracket there, I might be able to get that to come close. So having taken the screws out, it looks like these are countersunk into the base. But if I can squeeze it across like that, I get to be square. So one choice would be to file out the holes, because that's where it wants to be, over there. And the trouble is, if I try and nip them up off centre, it just drags back in, and we're back to the misalignment. Yeah, so I think I've got to create a slot for these screws to work in. So the other option is just to play on any bend in the mounting lugs of the hole. So I want that to come out that way. So if there's any chance of just taking that down a bit, like that. See those line up. It's better
I then spent an age trying to push it around, bend it, stretch it, flex it. I even admit to briefly having to hit it with a hammer, but none of it really seemed to make enough difference. So if you've had any experience on these DeWalt, or others for that matter, but if you've got any experience of these running out of line and you found a good way of fixing them, please let me know in the comments below, because it's a brilliant saw, but at the moment all I can do is run it by eye rather than run it in a saw guide, because the blade is a bit squint. So if you've got any ideas, any suggestions, please let me know. I'd love to hear them.
That'll do it. So we can now go back and not go one. Right, let's start measuring, see where we're at.
Mm.
Oh, you're going to do it, you're going to do the old stuff?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
You hold the end.
Yeah, it's 2 walk past 3 metres and 3 metres goes up to, and then we do it.
So that's 3 metres to there. Like that.
Yeah.
There's that.
Okay.
And there we are.
Fantastic.
Which way up are we? Yeah.
Okay.
Spread it a bit.
Yeah. Great.
Anywhere in particular?
Sort of near this end, so then I can break it down here once I get the wheat paddock down. It's going to be on you. It's probably worth explaining here that putting these olive chippings down is not intended as a permanent solution. For a start, they contain lots of leaves, so will ultimately just end up as mush. And also, when we start the big rebuild, whenever that may be, a lot of this area is likely to be dug up. So it's just to try and keep it reasonably clear for the time being, and to cut down on Phil's strimming workload.
Another one. I can't really get all this of it.
Every now and then we've got to get off the farm, often for groceries in the nearby town, or, like this day, going into Coimbra for some building materials or some tools. I'm conscious we haven't really shared much of the scenery of some of the fantastic villages that are around us. Some of them just cut into the hillside and remarkably staying where they are. So take a moment, drive with us for a little while, and let us share some of the magnificent scenery that we're so fortunate to be surrounded by.
We're safely back with all the gear, but as you can see, the weather can change quite quickly round here. There's a storm brewing up, so it's back to the apartment to relax, hide and see what happens.
Quite a bit of rain overnight, and coming down into our dining room gazebo thing, there's some water on the ground and a big it's always the case, one of the sides of this gazebo tends to catch the water, and so the way we've got it set up this time round, it's this one here over on the there's a lot of water to come out of there. I'll put the camera down and do that possibly a bit two-handed. Down my arm. There's obviously something in the way the canopy sits on the legs. One side will just catch the water, but oh dear, so much there. Anyway, let's got that down for the moment.
Thought I'd just come out and check the drain I cleared at the back of the house, and I'm right down here near the end of the house where I still had a puddle last time, and pleased to report no puddle. So my additional bit of drain that I dug out to here, out to where the olive tree is, has worked. Yay, success for once.
So what I was going to do before the rain got in the way is to take a look on where we are now. Today is quite an important day because we've got our friends Michael and Becci are bringing up some rubble from their place. You may have seen it on their channel. I'll put the details on there in the description. So they've been clearing a load of rubble out, and clearly if we can, we've got this space to be able to take it. All this driveway needs to have the hardcore put in before the gravel can go on the top and finish it off. So again, the mutual help thing. They're bringing it up. They're due anytime soon. So it's 9. They're probably on their way by now. So anyway, I'll take you for a bit of a walk around. It's yesterday I took the strimmer onto the top terrace, and so we can now see the layout a bit better. I'll take you for a little walk around and we'll just see what we're dealing with today. So this is the driveway as we've set it out, and we put some weed fabric down. Doesn't exactly stop the weeds coming up, but probably better than nothing. So this was a collection of the tiles that we've gathered up from the clearance that we've done. We had our friends Sue and Phil. Again, there's back on a previous episode. I'll put that into the description as well. You should find the link possibly even on screen now. So they helped us to move what we'd recovered. They then had some work done on their roof and had some more tiles, so their builders brought over a collection of stuff and dropped it into this area. But it's quite a big patch, so if I think of it across maybe 4 or 5 meters wide and probably 30 or 40 meters at least long. So there's quite a big space, and this is going to be, you know, for now at least, this is going to be a parking, turning, and we'll get the car storage into the barn. But we've got still quite a bit which is not yet covered. So this is where I'm hoping we can get Michael and Becci's rubble in. This bit, we're really fortunate. We've got a little low dip in the wall here, so with a bit of good luck we can offload over the wall, get it into here and distribute around this area. So that's the target today. We did the strimming yesterday. That's got a lot clearer than it is, looks a lot nicer. You may remember Basil, the olive tree, which is been looking a bit sorry for himself. There's one sprig of leaf up on the top there, which you never know, signs of life. When we get through the winter and we get into the spring and get a bit more warmth back into his bones, you never know. Hopefully we'll get a healthy olive tree out of this. But for today, still got to do a bit of work on the trench eventually. So this, when Jane gets her digging hat on again, she's brilliant. I can't believe how much she's done so far. But that pile there needs to go into that trench there. So that will sort out the bit, the access and the approach to the barn. But today it's all about this.
So despite all the best intentions, sat-nav doesn't always take you down the most suitable roads, and unfortunately Michael got himself stuck in a ditch no more than a few hundred metres away from the house. Fortunately we knew the chap in the farm behind, and even more fortunately, he has a tractor. So he got out, some other chaps turned up, and lots of pointing and umming and ahhing and sucking your breath, but eventually, a bit of patience and a bit of goodwill, the van comes out and we're back on the road. If you've seen Michael and Becci's video on clearing the rubble, you'll have seen there's something like 4 tons of it, and Michael had bagged it all up, put it in the van, or at least some of it in the van. This was clearly going to be a multiple trip job, so we got stuck in with the first load.
Yeah.
So what I want to try and do is build the stream.
Start with it.
So actually,
Yeah,
if we
need
can
to
build
use
the
this bit
stream
here.
straight down
Yeah, okay.
onto the hard standing, because we
Yeah.
can then get the car up there and reverse it in.
Yeah.
If we do that, so this bit is the priority.
Yeah, okay.
Manual loading was clearly not a good idea, so there had to be a better way. And as ever, Jane came up with a brilliant plan to use the wheelbarrows to take a bit of the load. The first attempt wasn't quite perfect, but with a little bit of thought we got our heads around it and came up with a much better way of doing things, where we could just pour the rubble bags out of the wheelbarrows when we got to where they needed to be. And then before we knew it, Michael was back with another load and Becci to help us out.
They are very heavy, those, aren't they? Can you lift them? I'm not. I really struggle.
And the light ones. I'll try to help get them on the.
I've got a good technique with the barrow going.
And just to reinforce the point, there's around 4 tons of rubble here, all bagged up, loaded into the van by Michael at one end, loaded out of the van by Michael at the other end for the rest of us to distribute. Hats off to the man.
Goodness, how many bags. Just look at all these bags. There's millions.
The other day was like, I'm just going to have a couple of hours every day and then
Yeah. Well, we know what you're like, don't we?
yeah.
Respect, Michael, for having bagged all this lot up.
So this is the end of a very, very busy day. Unexpected start with the digging out of the van, but 3 trips later we've got all the rubble in. Michael and Becci have been stars, and we've got a fabulous now
good depth of hardcore sitting here in the driveway, and all ready for the whacker plate to come, bash it down a bit, and that will then make it flatter, ready for some gravel, and that will sort of be it.
Wow. Let's just do this, show you how much stuff we've got now. Goes all the way down there. You can almost land a helicopter on it. And after all that, we headed off for a good long rest. We were really pleased to find 3 different ways of using old materials that were just lying around cluttering up the place. With minimal new materials bought or waste put in the local environment, the farm's now in a lot better state. We also saved some cash and got to help out our friends. I think that's a win all round. And as always, thank you all for joining us and sharing some of the excitement of a very busy and productive week. And if you haven't done so already, please remember to subscribe to our channel. It's completely free and really helps us to keep making these videos for you. Next week's episode will be a special one, when we look back over one part of the project and see how it's evolved over the year we've been working on it. Thanks once again, and bye for now.